Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing sort of an explanation video, going to be going over the new villains that are going to probably be, a huge influence in the start of the Walking Dead Season 6, that is, of the group that is pretty much introduced in the season finale of Season 5, Conquer, which are the Wolves. Okay, and spoiler warning if anyone hasn't seen up to the end of The Walking Dead Season 5. Now, I think this one makes sense for me to do right off the bat, of course, after seeing the end of Season 5, because they get the final scene of the episode. There's an after-credits scene where, nothing too earth-shattering, but you can see Little Red Riding Hood, the survivor who has the red poncho on, who the big bad wolf, at least seemingly of the two, had cut his throat as the other one, after he told him to be still, the other one turns him and he cuts his throat. After the credits, we see him kind of zombie him wandering about, and then you can see on the side of a car there it says "Wolves Not Far," which is the same sort of graffiti that we saw actually way back in the first episode of this half season. So episode 9, What Happened and What's Going On at Charwilt Estates, we saw that there was in the background of Michonne as she was walking, "Wolves Not Far," the exact same graffiti written in what seems to be the same style. So with that, I mean, pretty easy for us to assume that they have been around that area for quite a while, and they were the ones that were responsible for destroying Charwilt and basically ransacking the place, taking whatever they wanted from it, and killing any survivors there. Also, if you remember, the place was totally decimated. It was destroyed. So it wasn't just that some zombies had gotten through or a group had attacked, but they had also destroyed it. So they must have used some kind of explosives or something of the sort to smash everything down, to smash the gates down there and all that. Clearly they had some pretty good firepower. So going on for there, we did see quite a few different little hints of them throughout the second half of The Walking Dead Season 5. We saw in Remember, Carl, he finds a comic book, and on the front of it you can see the title says Wolf Fight. So, a little bit of foreshadowing there. We also see in Forget, Daryl finds the first of many walkers with a W carved into their heads, and we got to see also in the finale there's tons. They have been marking tons and tons of them, and even in What Happened, What's Going On, we saw some W's that had been marked, or bodies had been cut off. You see the girl with the long hair, the blonde, and she had been just totally, her body just ravaged, but then left there with the W in her forehead, and Daryl puts her out of her misery. So what we're dealing with in terms of these villains, really brutal group. We know of at least 2 of them, and as I mentioned in many videos up until this point, I don't think it makes sense that just 2 of them would be responsible for all the things that we've seen them do, in the second half of the series. Like Charwilt, would 2 survivors be able to destroy all of Charwilt, take the whole place down, and ransack it basically? It seemed like there was at least a good number of survivors there, so I tend to kind of not think so, and it was pretty well defended. And just all the different zombies that they've collected, so to speak, they've marked, and characters they've killed, seemingly in different spots, different locations over time. It seems to me more like we're dealing with a larger group. Also, of course, because they're based on the scavengers from the Walking Dead comic book series, what they are is basically the scavengers, who is a group from the Walking Dead comic book series made up of 6 survivors, led by Derek, who so far, with regards to the wolves, we don't know the names of either of the 2 survivors, but we know that the wolves, or the scavengers, did have about 6 members, actually plus Derek, so that'd be 7 in total. The scavengers, they were pretty one-dimensional with regards to the comic book series. They didn't really do too much. There was a line from Derek, as he says to Rick at the gates of Alexandria, when Rick is wearing the police uniform. He says, "Isn't that obvious? Little pig, let me in," after Rick asks him basically what he wants. So I think that's pretty much the idea where they got the name for the wolves from. Who says that? Who says little pig, let me in? The big bad wolf. And then in the finale there, we get to see a lone survivor who is our Little Red Riding Hood, so to speak. So they definitely have put a lot of thought into this group and into little things that they've dropped all throughout the second half of the season. Be it either marked zombies or graffiti on walls or on side of buildings, all throughout. So I think it's pretty safe to assume for us in Season 6 since they have found the photos of Alexandria, it seems to be the first time they've seen the place. They don't seem like they're survivors that had been there prior. Otherwise, they probably already would have attacked it, similar to how they did with Charwell. Luckily for the Alexandria people, though, you now have Rick and the survivors that have joined them, which just significantly strengthens their numbers and makes them a much stronger group that would be way more difficult to attack than prior. So they're probably the Wolves' best chance of taking down Alexandria has probably already passed now that Rick and the group has joined. So I'm sure for the first half of Season 6, they're going to be a huge concentration. They look like they're going to be our main villains to get things started off. I don't think they're season villains, meaning I don't think they're like the Governor, a group of villains that could last all the way through an entire season. I think maybe a few episodes, 3 or 4, or maybe they'll extend them to a whole half, which would be good as well too. Because we do have a lot of things that I'm sure they're going to focus on, like Morgan, what happened to him, maybe give us a flashback episode of him or something of the sort, which we'll also talk about in kind of a Morgan predictions video I'll be doing soon. But yeah, so far with the Wolves, I think it's safe to assume they probably have more members. We may not even have seen the leader of the Wolves so far, even though the one with the longer hair and the teeth kind of looks like in the really blanked out eyes as he was staring at Morgan with the black hair, who hasn't been named yet according to the wiki or from what I've seen. I don't think he's the overall leader. He doesn't look like Derek from the Scavengers from the comic book series, who's bald, older, and bigger. So it's possible that just those two are like one small little group of a larger group of wolves, which would be about 6, 7, 8, maybe. Who knows? They could extend it to however many they want in the TV series. But I think about 6, 7, or 8 makes sense and could be a serious threat to Alexandria. Also, of course, since they have so many zombies and they have this kind of OCD where they want to take everything, as the main wolf says to Morgan there at the beginning of the finale, as he tells him, "We're going to take you too. We're going to take all. I want everything." It tells him to stop drinking his thing, and Morgan's like, "Well, why?" Because I want it. They want everything. So there's the scavenger part. But they also mentioned they're going to take him too. That they have this. They even take this. They even take the people. They take Little Red Riding Hood back, and they kill him, and they keep him. So to speak, even possibly for a use for zombies. They've even found that zombies can be useful for them. So really twisted, crazy, interesting set of villains. They have some kind of similarities to characters we've seen in the past before. You've got Joe and the Claimers that claim things and are really about what they have and taking things in that. Then you also have, of course, the Hunters, Gareth, the Termites, Terminus, where they were, kind of really brutal like that. The Wolves are very similar to that. Now, they don't eat people, but as far as we know, but they do leave them in brutal states, cut out their stomachs and stuff, cut their arms off, and then leave them as zombies, which may be worse than being eaten. Neither one's good. I wouldn't want to choose between either for which is a better fate to have to endure. Yeah, so that's pretty much all we know about the Wolves thus far. I am expecting them to be a pretty fearsome group and probably kill at least 1 or 2 of our survivors. I think that the time for us seeing a lot of our core, like Season 1, Season 2 survivors that have joined the group at this time may be over, so most of the characters that will be killed off in Season 6 will probably be a lot of our Alexandriites or newer characters that are just starting to get some time. And we'll have to see how it all goes. It should be fun. They should be a good group to see in Season 6. And at least for a few episodes, we'll get to see them, I would think. Hopefully maybe a half season with the possibility of a huge walker bomb like the Governor did against Rick's group in Home, was it? But this time, except maybe a semi-truck filled with zombies being unleashed on Alexandria. We'll have to see how it goes. Let me know what you guys think about the Wolves thus far. The fact that Morgan was able to take down 2 of them by himself when it was 2-on-1. I'm not that impressed with those 2, so I'm hoping they're not all there is to the Wolves. If those 2 are all there is, then they're really not much of a threat. I think they need more numbers. Even if they're creative and they use zombies, if Morgan can take them down by himself, and they had the initiation in that battle, they spotted him before he spotted them. They seem crafty and they seem clever, but I think we need more wolves for them to be a serious threat to Alexandria. I think that's what we're going to see. So let me know what you guys think about the wolves in Season 6, what you think about them so far. It's crazy to think they've already been in the show for eight episodes, but not really. Like, their graffiti is there, their markings have been there, and we've just finally seen them in the finale. So anyway, if you'd like this kind of explanation video, me giving you some info on everything we know so far about the group, please thumb it up below. If you want to support the channel, please share it, please favorite it. I'll put a link to the Walking Dead wiki so you can read about the wolves and the scavengers, since the wolves are basically a remix of the scavengers. And if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, bottom left, just click the subscribe. And that's it for this one, guys. See you for the next one. As always, it's Trev. Saying peace.